Oh my god, the host just triple sat me.
You see whose food running tonight?
56 was just sitting there making out the entire time I was trying to take
Why do we have
order.
so many servers on the floor? Did you hear about 73?
This is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental.
I was trying to keep my face so still. I was like, yeah, try it.
No, the minute you were, I was like, what does it taste like? And you were like, try it. I was like, no, you bitch. I was like, this is going to be awful.
It's not awful.
But it's not good.
It's not pumpkin spice latte. It's pumpkin spice flat
Water.
soda water. Yeah, like
it's very watery. So there's like obviously no dairy in it, which I guess because it's a canned drink, they didn't want to put the dairy and the alcohol
but
in
I mean,
it.
you can do non-dairy creamer. Like, I thought it was going to be much
yeah.
creamier because it's like, oh, shake it. Like, it tells you, like, absolutely shake it. So I was like, yeah, these have to stay cold. Like, no matter what, it needs to be cold. And they're still pretty cold, and it still tastes like shit. So
That's pretty bad. So much has happened.
Too much has happened.
And yet not enough, because I feel like the Notes app is dry. Very dry.
I just didn't write anything in the notes app because I thought we will have enough to talk about. Like, enough has happened that is memorable that
Yeah.
I didn't need to write it down. Like, the things that we're gonna talk about, well, we knew we were gonna talk about those things. Like, it wasn't like I can't think of anything. No. Hello?
Hello?
What's down there? What do you have in this car?
It's a pet water bowl.
It is. Yeah, I saw that when I was in your car last. That's right.
Yeah, it's one time I went to the vet and they made me sit outside for 45
Right.
minutes in the heat
heat,
wave.
yeah.
The huge heat wave that we have. And my cat
Fantastic.
was like starting to fucking pant. I was like, can I get some like water for her or a broom? I don't fucking know.
No, you're diseased. You stay outside.
Yeah, essentially. Not diseased anymore though, for now.
She's not deceased. I'm very happy about that.
For now. Like I said earlier, she's, not good, but like normal for her.
No, better than what she was before, sort of.
I don't even know if that's true.
Well, the ringworm's gone.
The
She has her
ringworm's
fur
gone.
back, so she's better than she was.
Her
She's only
eye-
half gremlin, not full gremlin, She was like straight, you gave Gizmo some water. Like,
Yeah,
that was
the
rough.
inflamed eyes and missing
And
patches
patches
of
of
fur on her face and cheek was definitely a moment for
Yeah.
her. She was such a diva. Fuck me.
Oh my god.
And then when people are like, "Oh, why'd you take a break?" and I'm like, "I had shit happening."
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of stuff was happening. We have lives too, okay?
Welcome back to Rolling fucking Silverware.
Welcome fucking back, everybody. Season 2.
Season 2. I'm Kat,
And I'm Bunny.
and this is our post-shift shit talk.
And we are back, baby.
Yeah, I'm so excited. A little bit of pre-shift.
Appreciate it.
Let's talk about, first and foremost, that fucking car.
Yeah, hold on. This guy's got the biggest dick I've ever seen. Obviously, or his car wouldn't sound like that, right?
Of course. That's how it works, isn't it? The changes of staff.
Oh man, we have filed through some people recently.
Terrible bartender, gone.
And thank God for that.
And thank the Lord and old and new gods. But also, bartender, we didn't even have a chance to nickname. I don't even know if he'd worked when we ended last season.
This bartender joined the schedule after our last episode for last season.
And he's already gone.
And he is gone. So if you've been with us since last season, somebody has came and went. And for the better, because fucking wild
so,
shit. Like,
yeah.
so aggressively weird.
So
Like-
first and foremost, let's talk about terrible bartender.
Okay.
What she actually got caught with was stealing, right? Because she was free pouring, and that's technically considered stealing.
She was free pouring, and on that same day, it was like insubordination because she wasn't listening to her direct manager. So it was like she was asked a question by her direct manager to do something, and she basically said, in not these words, but in these words, "Fuck you, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
So that was really the bigger check of the two things. But then, yeah, she was caught free pouring wine straight from the bottle into the glass.
Yeah.
Which we don't do at our location or at our restaurant. We pour into a little carafe so that every drink is measured and we know exactly how much is going to each of those wine glasses.
Yeah.
But she was just, I mean, we've talked about it enough times. She was just lazy to the umpteenth degree. So
no, she was awful, and I'm glad she's gone. I was praying on her downfall from the minute she came back.
Not a moment of sadness has passed since she has left.
I literally, the minute I heard that it was that she was gone, I was doing a jig in the 50s, just like ready to gossip with anyone and everyone
full-on
about
high fives were given to a few people.
It wasn't even just us. Like, there was a lot of people.
She had issues with a lot of people because she made them that way. Like,
Yeah.
she absolutely caused issues for people. So to have her gone was definitely it's so light and refreshing in here all of a sudden.
The mood just feels like flowers. I don't know.
Bright and sunny. And then on her way out, now I don't know if I can be quoted on this because I don't know for sure, but I heard that we received a call to the health department about our location using very specific verbiage,
terminology that a guest wouldn't have.
Right, something that any day guest wouldn't know these things about a location just by visiting.
Yep.
True or false, they wouldn't know these things, right? So apparently a call was made from a woman to the health department stating that we needed to be investigated for things, and it was the day that she was let go from the company,
which is wild to me because I'm sorry, like, okay, I don't know, I guess I would never have thought to be that petty. Like, that's a level of petty I don't think I could ever be. Like, I aspire to be petty, I aspire to be bitchy for sure, but at the end of the day I'm just like, she obviously hated this job. Why go to the extremes? Like,
she made it very clear that she didn't want to be here most of the time.
And you got let go. Now you're on unemployment. Like, go file for that. Why are you filing health department complaints?
Yeah. And day of too. Like, you had nothing else to do with your day. Like, you weren't just like, oh, cool, it's a day off now. Like, or go get some drinks, go vent, whatever. Like, absolutely. Like, I've been let go from jobs before, and I've also just had other things. To have that level of animosity against the place that you didn't even want to fucking work anyways, like, that's the most confusing part to me. And again, there's no proving that she made that phone call. There's no proving that, but how oddly specific timing.
Yep.
You know, like, almost too coincidental that it's just like, it was probably her.
Crazy. And then we had a hostess that got let go. Brought in cookies, and they fired.
Oh my god, I forgot about the fucking cookies. Oh, that was such I
ate so many of them.
So you're the only one. All right, hold on. Okay, so this girl had been spoken to about, you know, her attitude towards guests and about just things that had happened. As far as I know, she was spoken to, and she comes to work this day as hey, I'm going to turn things around. And look at everybody. I baked a fat batch of cookies.
She did bake them too, huh?
They weren't store-bought. I'm pretty sure they were in a Ziploc bag, and they didn't look store-bought. And it was like somebody's, you know, like the big gallon freezer bags.
Yeah.
And so I guess she brought in these cookies, to which then moments later was escorted into the office to sign her termination paperwork. Yep. And then she left, leaving the cookies behind, naturally, because why the fuck would you think, oh, I gotta go get those cookies? Nobody can have these now.
I would take those cookies.
I would probably be like, oh, fuck all you. You don't get to eat these. I might even have dumped them on the ground and then walked out. Like, I don't know.
Into the middle of the kitchen.
Yeah, just straight like, here. Enjoy these fucking cookies. and then for me to come in moments after all of this has taken place. Like, I had just gotten to work.
And then eating a cookie.
Well, and then our bar manager, right, is munching. And I was like, oh, who are the cookies from? And he goes, oh, yeah, it was her. She got let go. And I'm like, and you're eating them? And then I turn around. One of our now server manager, used to be fabulous host manager, now server manager. He was chewing on one, and I was like, you're eating her cookies?
He never ate one.
He didn't eat one?
No.
I thought he did.
No.
I thought he had one already, and then I was like, I attacked him about it. I was like, how could you do this? Like,
yeah, so you
signed that paperwork, fucker, and then you're going to eat her cookies?
No, fabulous manager never ate the cookies, and it was a whole thing for him. He was like, hell no, I'm not eating those cursed cookies.
That's right. Karma cookies is what he was calling them. That's right. He didn't have any of the karma cookies.
He was like, absolutely. I was like, I didn't fucking fire her, and I'm just munching now. I'm like,
well, you handed me one, and it was an M&M cookie, and I was like, yeah, I want a bite of this, because you're like, here, hold this while I go check on my table.
That's right.
To which I ate that, because you handed me a cookie, and it was M&M, and all that was left was fucking oatmeal raisins, so it's like, yeah, I'm going to eat this. But that was prior to me knowing where the cookies had come from.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where the cookies came from yet, and then it was
It was speculated.
released that it was her. Like, could you imagine? You're just like, oh, here I am. I'm turning shit around. I'm gonna have a better attitude at work. I'm gonna just give some little snackage to my crew and let everybody know how happy I am to be here. And goodbye.
Never mind.
Please leave. So unfortunate.
So funny. And then, yeah, bartender that came and went within weeks. Breeze stays
like,
around for longer than this kid did.
Out of training, and then yeah, so he came in kind of a nepotism hire a little bit, like knew a bunch of people, and
Yeah, he knew fucking everybody.
He
It
was cocky
weird.
right off the bat, and he did, to his credit, he did have a resume to like stand up.
Yeah, he's been working behind bars for a long time. Funny enough, he knew terrible bartender. They worked at the
They
same
used to work together.
They worked at
Not
the same
surprised
spot
now.
before. I know. Yeah, he just, it was weird that he knew like so many people, and it felt very odd. But then on top of that, because he knew so many people, the new people that he met, he treated them instantly like he's known them for 10, 15 years. And
Oh my God, he was trying to act like I was his best fucking friend,
Yeah.
and that we had been super close, and saying mildly outrageous things, not super aggressive to me.
But he
every
was
time,
always, it
but-
always made me like feel so weird about the fact that he would take one little inside joke, right, that happened on the
Right.
first or second meeting, and then all of a sudden he would just bring that up every single time that you ever spoke to him. Like that was just like, it was like,
Yeah, that
our
was
thing.
like that was our
And it's
thing
like,
now, and it's like, no,
okay,
dude,
fucking relax.
I don't know you.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like we don't have inside jokes. You're a stranger. Shut
Right.
the fuck up.
But he came in like he was just the hottest piece of shit that has ever walked through the doors of
Yeah.
this restaurant. And so, like, mildly annoying to a lot of us. We're just like, hey, dude, like, calm down. But then, picked up shifts left and right and was
Knew his drinks.
Yeah,
got
knew
the drinks right.
knew his drinks and knew just regular bar knowledge. So it was like, okay, cool. We're getting, we're
At least he had that. Yeah, I can put up with the annoyingness to coworkers. Like just those little like
Right.
annoying things. I can put up with stuff like that. If you're going to follow recipes, you're
Right.
going to know the drinks, you're going to have common knowledge of a bar. Because even working behind a bar, you and I, we've worked
Right.
behind a bar, but there's going to be certain things people ask for and we're like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
that? You know what I mean? And but he knew those things because
Right.
he had been working in bars longer than even we had.
Well, and
So
one of the things that I had said specifically about terrible bartender, but I think it holds true to pretty much anybody. You can either be good at or bad at your job, or you can be an asshole. But you can't be both.
Yeah.
And terrible bartender was both. She
Yep.
was absolutely both. So this guy, good at his job, kind of an asshole.
Well, it turns out huge asshole.
Turns out,
but
yeah,
we
at
didn't
that
know.
time
Yeah.
we just thought kind of an asshole. Turns out major asshole.
Yeah, so on our rosters, the things that they printed out every day saying who was working, they
Right.
had our phone numbers on it.
Yeah.
And something I literally just learned today was Fabulous Manager had asked when he first started with this company, not even at our location because he's been at other
Yeah, yeah.
concepts. So when he first started with the company, it was something that they did at that concept as well. And he said like, hey, can we not do that?
Yeah, because
And-
it's so easy to erase them.
right.
Like
and
when we do that in the it's literally an Excel sheet that we're printing out.
yeah.
So when you print that out, you can delete any bit of that information that you want. So taking out the phone numbers takes 5 seconds.
Right. It was never an issue, but he was always told like, well, it makes it easier to call people if we need to call anyone out or if we need to call people in early or if we need to do this, da da da. So they kept the phone numbers on.
Right.
And then and this is speculation because we actually don't know
We don't
how
know
he got
how
this phone
he
number.
got the phone number, but this is what makes the most sense.
It's
to me.
it's the running theory that he took a girl's phone number off of the roster because
Yeah.
she was working at some point when he was working, and then text her inappropriate and lewd things outside of work.
Yeah.
Which crazy.
Yeah, and
Who-
she
what are you
never
doing?
responded, obviously, because why would
Obviously.
you? And then even confronted him later and said, like, hey, I didn't give you my number, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want you to have it. And if you ever need to reach out to me, our scheduling app is the way that you should
Yeah,
do
it has a messaging thing for a reason.
Right,
like-
which is how we can all contact each other from, right there where it's all documented and everything else.
Exactly.
And also, he was saying obscure and disgusting things to one of our hosts.
Super homophobic things to one of our hosts. Yeah.
Incredibly homophobic and like just devastatingly disgusting. Like
Also, like borderline threatening. Like some of the stuff, like, oh, I can drop you off on Hollywood Boulevard and let them have
their way with you. Are you joking?
Who are you? We don't know each other. And to a stranger, essentially, because
he didn't know that kid.
Yeah, crazy to be saying shit like that.
As soon as he found out that he was gay, it was non-stop, like a barrage of
super homophobic,
very homophobic
shit,
comments. To which, when I found out, it was, you should go talk to somebody. Like, that's disgusting. Plus, that tacked on to him getting a hold of somebody's phone number without their consent and texting her terrible things.
So apparently he had got spoken to at the beginning of a shift and said, like, hey, you can't do these things, right? And I'm wondering if a lot of that conversation, whether management brought it up this way or whether this was the way that the bartender had taken it, was centered around the server that he took the phone number from was inappropriate. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't take people's phone numbers. Don't.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. Like, if he took it as much more like, don't contact that server.
Right.
Like, that was inappropriate. Don't take people's phone numbers. Don't contact that server. Don't talk to that server. And so he thought he was still well in the clear with everyone else.
Right.
Within that same shift, then started saying even more homophobic and disgusting things to the host. And the host went to management and was like, yeah, he's literally saying these things to me. He said it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And bartender immediately got suspended. Like, we just told you.
Yeah, we just talked to you about inappropriate behavior and you're still being inappropriate.
Yeah, wild. And very, very swiftly under investigation.
I mean, he had texted me because he got my number because he went to get coffee for everybody one day, right? The bartender did. And so it was, hey, text me your coffee order, because it was to a coffee place that I'd never been to before. So I was like, yeah, give me your number. I'll text you my coffee order. So
I'll look it up online and I'll
Right.
figure it
And
out.
so I did, and that's how he got it. So, okay, no harm, no foul there. But then a couple days later, he's texting me about things at work. Hey, what's the par for this? What's this? Okay, I'm going to answer those questions. No big deal.
They're work-related questions, and if somebody feels comfortable enough to ask you, you're not going to be like, hey, fuck off, I'm off the clock.
Well, and then I had made a comment like, oh, you're back there already, because I had just seen him 8 hours ago, and we were both at work. And I was like, oh, you're back already? And he's like, yeah, I live here. And I was like, oh, yeah, are you, camping out up top where we have like the attic area, right, that we go to? To which his comment was something along the lines of like, yeah, I've got a futon up here and you're going to be my first bang, or something like that.
Ew.
To which I was like, gross. And that's all I said. I just said gross, and then I never responded to another message.
You told me that he messaged you something inappropriate, but you never told me exactly what he said.
I thought I did.
Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, he sent me the picture. You know what's that, like, black couch porn thing, right?
Stop it.
That, like,
Yeah, the couch, casting couch.
Yeah, the casting couch thing, right?
Don't ask me how I know that.
He sent me the screenshot of that, like, just the couch, because it's in memes and everything else, right? And said, yeah, you're going to be my first victim, or something like that. He didn't say victim, because that's surprisingly worse than what he said. He didn't say victim, but he said something, to which my only response was the word gross. And then I never said anything to him again. And then on my very next shift, when I saw him, I walked up to the bar and I said, hey, that's got to stop. Yeah. And he's like, oh, it wasn't that serious. And I go, I don't care. There isn't a world that exists where I'm going to, 1, cheat on my boyfriend, or 2, want anything to do with you.
Yep.
Stop. And I laid it out, and Southern Peach bartender was standing right there. Mm-hmm. She heard every second of that. I was like, no, stop it. And he goes, okay, heard. And that was it. So when management came to me and they were like, hey, your name was mentioned when it comes to talking about this guy, I just told them, hey, words were exchanged through text messages. I let him know that was uncomfortable for me and not to do it. And I feel like that was a solution. Like, yeah, I did not see him texting me anymore after that, to which he didn't. Yeah. So, because a couple days had passed before him getting suspended. So I felt like I handled that situation. I didn't want to discuss it with the managers and be like, oh, here's my proof with my text messages and fucking whatever. Like, yeah, I'm good. But yeah, wild. And then
got a couple of new guys. I don't know, in the host stand anyways. Bartending, we're still kind of up in the air trying to figure it out. We don't have too many new bartenders yet, but we got 2 new hosts, and the only way I could describe them, and this is purely based off of looks, is Pinky in the Brain.
Stop it.
Am I wrong?
all right. But which
Look
one's
me in
the
the
brain?
face and tell me
Which
that-
one's the brain?
That's what I'm saying. This is basically just on looks alone, not on personality. Because I don't think they
One's
have...
taller, one's shorter.
Exactly.
They
One's
are
tall and lanky, and one's short and works out.
right.
So
and
it's
they
very...
so I met them 3 days apart. I met one.
Yeah, they
and
hired
then
them right at the same time.
the same time. And I was told we have one new host, name is blank, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So then somebody walks up to me and they're like, oh, this is different name entirely. And I was like, oh, well, hello. And then 3 days later, I meet the original name that I was told. And to me, in that moment, I'm like, it's the same person. That's the same
That's what I'm saying.
guy.
They kind of look similar, except one's tall and lanky, and one's like a
and
little
one's
bit shorter
short and a little, not stout, but
Not
but
stout,
like you said,
muscular.
more built. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll give him Pinky in the brain. That works. And so one of them, it is his first job ever, like ever.
Believe that.
I've heard things about the other one that would lead me to believe.
Yeah, Brain's not great, but Pinky's not any better. Like Pinky's like lost more often than not.
The amount of times, like, so first job ever, okay, and the training is thorough, but not always extensive,
yeah.
right? It's thorough, but it's not extensive. So for his first couple shifts, it was, hey, I've got this table. Hey, I've got this table. Hey, I've got this table. So I had to grab him at one point and be like, if it's in my section, you don't have to tell me.
Don't talk to me.
Don't come and you're wasting your time and mine to come and find me to tell me that 76 is mine. I know that. It has to be because it's in my section. And if it's to anybody else, I'm fucking pissed. Like, what are you talking about? That's not my table.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do that. I was like, if you have a table outside, you come and get me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we had a couple miscommunications where it was like, hey, can you take a 5-top? And I'm like, yeah, I can take a 5-top. He goes, okay, great. And then he leaves. And then I don't get a new table at all. And 20 minutes have passed. And so I walk up and I'm like, hey, is that 5-top still coming? And he's like, oh, well, I don't know. And then I realized, hold on. And then I realized that before he spoke to me about can you take a 5-top, I was getting drinks for a 5-top that I had already been sat and I was already taking very comfortably. So he was talking about the table that I already got sat and I was already taking it. And then he's like, oh, I have to go check. And then in my head I went, oh, he meant 32. But I've had them for 10 minutes.
Wild.
So he sat them and then 10 minutes later goes, can you take a 5? Did you think I had ignored them for 10 minutes? How bad at my job do you think I am?
Right.
If that's your question. Because I was so confused because I never got another 5-top. So
Yep.
I'm like, oh, did they bounce out? Did they sit with somebody else? Like, should I be?
Are they on the patio?
Right.
Like, yeah,
like,
what's happening?
Is there still a table I need to get to? And then it was just, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, all right,
You should.
this is great.
So, Brain, I want to say it was like his second or third day. I'm just calling him Pinky.
No,
in the
it's
Brain
Pinky in
this
the brain now. It has to be. It's the only way that this can work.
So Brain had worked, I want to say it was like his second or third shift out of training, and I was in lounge, and he had sat I want to
I already know where this is going. Please
Yeah.
keep going.
the lead server had like 3 or 4 tables, somebody else had like 2 tables, and then the manager's trying to help him seat and like get him comfortable, right? Because again, it's extensive, but it's not super, it doesn't cover everything. So
Right.
the managers do help a lot with the newer hostess when they're first there for, their first couple of shifts. And Brain goes, oh, lead server was next in rotation. And I'm standing at the host stand and I'm like, why is lead server next in rotation? I have 1 table.
Right.
And he looks at me and goes, oh, I thought the bar area only got sat when like the restaurant was full. And I literally just and walked away. I said nothing because I had nothing nice to say. And then I walked away.
I'm just here in case
Right.
we overflow from the restaurant. This
On a Wednesday. Like,
I'm just the
outta here.
overflow server, and this is definitely not one of the more lucrative spots. It's just in
a
case.
fabulous manager ended up coming up to me later and he goes, thank you for walking away.
I don't know if
was
I
like,
would have
yeah.
been able to hold my tongue. I think I would have gone, what the fuck are you talking
I
about?
was very much like, I'm going to be so mean to this poor child right now. I need to leave. And I did. And I left and I didn't say anything. And then fabulous manager was like, yeah, I explained, that that's only during the day shifts when the bartenders are working the lounge. that's not the night shifts when we have a server dedicated to the lounge area.
But also, maybe that might even be the wrong way to explain that, because during the day, the bartenders absolutely want those tables.
And they are in rotation.
They should be in rotation.
And I'm sure that got handled at some point, whatever. It's all I think bartenders taking tables is very new to this location. And so, like, the managers are still trying to figure out, like, how that works.
Yeah.
And also the fact that bartenders don't tip out the host. And that's all on, like, a not faith-based system, but kind of in a sense like a faith-based, where, you know, the hosts are hoping that the bartenders will slip them some money, cash on the way out. But I do when I bartend and I'm taking tables, I'll give the host $5.
I don't think I ever considered it, only because I didn't even realize. Like, I knew that the bartenders didn't tip out the host. Like, I knew that. But also, I don't think on the days that I was bartending, that's where my head was at, was thinking, like, oh, yeah, they didn't get 80 cents per table or whatever it is for seating.
Yeah, it's a super low amount, which is why I typically just throw them $5, because that's usually over what
probably over.
But I want them to seat me, and I want them to not skip me in
absolutely.
rotation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like,
but also, like,
you play those games when you're tipping on your own. Like, management, with the new system nowadays in restaurants, how you give your money to management and then management gives it out to people, which not every restaurant does that. Cheesecake Factory still doesn't do that.
Black Angus didn't do it.
Yeah, well, Black Angus didn't do it when I was working there either, but that was a fucking century and a half ago.
Well, that was my most recent job before this one.
Oh, fair, yeah.
4 years ago. Yeah, it was, 1%, 2%, 1% to your bar, your busser, and your runners, right? And so you...
And you handed the cash to them.
Yeah, you just handed the cash to them. Sometimes you were asked, can I see your checkout, if they wanted to see what your sales were, because it was 1% of your sales or 2% of your sales. But 9 times out of 10, I'm tipping well above that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all in good faith, like, to count on it. But I'm just like,
I do feel like, but when you have that kind of system, right, like, sometimes you'll tip the bussers a little bit extra because they did a little bit more for you, hoping that maybe in the next shift they'll keep doing a little bit more for you.
Absolutely.
And, you know
it was very much a tit for tat sort of situation.
Yeah, and so now that management takes our money and gives it to the bussers themselves, I feel like, I don't know, I guess we could give them cash. But I've also tried doing that once, and they were like, ew, don't do that.
I have tried so hard on nights when the bussers have, like, saved me, right? When the busser, like, literally was helping run food, was on top of their game, and was just helping me stay sane. I have absolutely tried to be like, here's $10. And it's like, no. I don't want that.
Yeah,
like,
I tried to give
aggressively no.
I tried to give Giggles $20 once.
I've tried to give all 3 of them money before, and I have been shot down every single time.
They hate the idea of me giving them extra cash, and I'm like, please take it. Like, you helped me a lot,
really
and they're like, ew, no. Like, they're so offended by me trying to give them more money.
But also to speak on the hosts getting tipped out by the bartenders, right? Like, I understand that the hosts are seating the bartenders during the day, and so, like, technically they should get tipped out for seating, because that's all they're doing for us too, right? Is seating. As servers, and we tip them out. But also, like, let's just back this up for 1 second. Our bartenders do so goddamn much. Like, being a bartender here at this this company, you do so fucking much that I'm sorry. Like, if I don't give you 20 cents per table, like, I'm not thinking about it, because I'm also prepping everything that this restaurant needs for its drinks. I'm making sure that every single guest that comes into this place and orders any kind of drink from the bar, whether it's alcoholic or non, gets it on time and prepared correctly, as well as taking care of my own section. So, like, sorry? Like, I find it hard to believe that the host would complain.
I don't think the host have ever complained. I think the only host that complained about it ever was the one that got moved up to server, that has, his big boy pants on and just feels, which something happened today.
I heard something happened today, but I didn't hear all of it.
Yeah, so arrogant ass, he was a host, and then he got moved up to runner really fast, and then he got moved up to busser even faster, and then up to server even faster
almost
than that.
Immediately from busser to server, like, not very long as a busser at all.
Within weeks, maybe a month. He got moved up to server. So he was moved up so quickly. And when this is the same kid, when he was going through his training, you had heard him telling the server manager, like, oh yeah, so and so needs to retake their preset quiz because they're obviously not doing what they should be.
Yeah, and calling out the servers, and
when he hadn't even been through training yet to understand what the job actually entails, like, so arrogant.
And also because he followed me 3 times for his training. So out of his 5 days, he was with me 3 times, to which he got the impression that because I'm good at my job and I was able to handle the tables that were given to me smoothly enough. He thought, well, this job's easy. I can handle this. This job's easy. It's just serving. It's just serving. And it's like, okay, fucker, you take 6 tables by yourself. And let me see you hit every single preset. Let me see you bust down to the wood every single time. Don't miss one. Don't you dare fucking miss one. Because what a wild stance. And I even spoke to him about it. I said, hey, it's probably not in your best interest to be calling out your fellow servers on what they're missing. Just go get it.
Yeah.
We are a team. At the end of the day, we are a team that works together, and that's how we keep this restaurant going, is because we work together. If you are the one that's going to nitpick every little thing, you're going to have a lot of people not willing to help you.
Yeah, and then now you're on an island in the middle of this restaurant, and no one is going to be willing to help you.
Like, good luck.
Yeah, so he was hosting tonight. And at one point, he just started, like, walking around and bussing tables, because I guess he just got bored at the host stand, which, like, okay, but also
go back
you're
up to the
a host.
front.
Like, that's, you're supposed to be at the front, whatever. But he's in the back in the dish pit, and he's putting stuff away, and Fabulous Manager looks at him and goes, did we move Magic the Gathering into the 80s?
It's been a while since we've said it. It's just been a while.
And Fabulous Manager asks, and Mr. Arrogant's like, yeah. And Manager's like, why? And he goes, well, because he's going to be taking that party in the PDR, in the private dining room. So he, I've moved him into the 80s so that any table that he gets now, he'll be able to, it'll be all in the same place.
Right.
Fabulous Manager goes off. Fantastic. I'm standing right there putting dishes away from a pre-bus that I did. And Fabulous Manager's just like, from here on out, any decisions that are made for the restaurant that should be made by a manager need to be made by a manager. There is absolutely no reason that you should be making decisions for this restaurant, because now Magic the Gathering has a full section in the 60s, and now you're trying to move him over into the 80s and seating him in the 80s, and now he's running around like a madman looking crazy, and we don't need that.
Right.
And I'm just sitting and I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to hurry up, because I know the minute Fabulous Manager walks away, Arrogant is going to look over at me and be like, oh my God, can you believe this guy?
So he's going to have something to say about it, absolutely.
And I'm going to look at him and be like, he's right.
Yeah.
Like, Fabulous Manager is right. Why are you making decisions? You have been here for, what, a year? If that? Why are you making decisions for the restaurant?
This isn't even the first time that he has said something to that degree, like for Arrogant man, boy, whatever, not even of legal drinking age.
Right, he's a child.
Yeah, he's a boy. It's not the first time that he has said something to the degree of like, well, I just did it. I just did it because that's what I thought should happen. And it's like I said, that day that he came in and we were talking about the floor plan, and I was like, yeah, like, you stick to the floor plan, and then if needed, you can seat people outside. And he walks up, not even hosting that day. He just comes in. I think he was bussing, and he's like, yeah, well, I just move people. Like, I just do it. With Fabulous Manager standing right there.
Crazy.
And to which Fabulous Manager was like, well, you don't. You stick to the floor plan that we make, because we make it intentionally and thinking about what's happening for the restaurant for the night. And he's like, yeah, but I mean, I just, like, if I have to move somebody, I just move somebody. And I look at him and I go, or you just listen to your manager.
Wild.
Just listen to your, like, I'm trying to hint to him so aggressively.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up. You just, like, why are you talking right now? We weren't talking to him when he came up and joined the conversation. He just openly admitted that, yeah, I basically do whatever I want. And I mean, even when on his last day of server training, I went to Fabulous Manager and I said, I'm having a hard time approving his move into serving.
Yeah.
Because he has this air about him that it's just going to be so easy. But that very night, he spilt water all over a woman and her baby.
Oh, that's right.
And also was forgetting things, because this was me. I'm following him.
Yep.
And he's also forgetting things. And he's also, when I'm asking him, what's your next step? What's your next step? In your head, you are on your own. What's your next step? Just talk it through to me. He couldn't. He couldn't give me an answer on what his next step was going to be. And I'm supposed to give my stamp of approval on this kid?
Right.
And be like, yeah, he's good to go. I was very hesitant to sign off on any of that. And I told that to the manager. Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation with him, and then the manager had a conversation with him. Hey, we're going to let you through, but we want you to know that the way that you're going about it isn't going to be how it is. Like, you're going to get that 5 table day, and you're going to get rocked, and we need to know that you're going to reach out for help and not just rely on what little knowledge you have to, try to piece it together.
No, but he's failing upwards so far in this restaurant, getting pushed through so fast. So why would he have any consideration?
I don't even understand why he made it through to server. Like, we weren't desperate for servers.
We didn't need servers at all.
And of the people that I could think of that might want to be one, why him?
I think as a host, he didn't have any complaints, right? So, like, of the host team, he was kind of the only one that wasn't getting, like, crazy complaints from the guest, and guests being like, that guy's the worst attitude, he's so snarky, he's so awful when he went to seat me. And then as a busser, he was really strong. I yelled at him a couple of times as a busser, like jokingly, but I yelled at him a couple times.
No, as a busser, he was strong. I didn't have any issues with him as a busser or a runner.
No, never.
It was really just him as a host. Luckily for him, I'll say, I haven't worked with him as a server very often.
Neither have I.
I think maybe once since he passed training.
He's never been on my roster when I was a lead server. So.
Oh, I wasn't the lead server that night. Every day that he's there, I'm kind of just like, well, we'll see like how it's going to go. But once again, every day that he's been there with me has either been as a host or a busser. Mm-hmm. So fine.
Part of me wonders if he's not getting a whole lot of serving shifts right now.
Right.
I know that they are trying to move into a more, not necessarily a performance-based schedule, but definitely not putting people on the schedule that maybe have just skated by for a long time. And, if they have 4 shifts a week and that's what they want, why are they going to try to be any better? So
they're getting what they want or leaving whenever they want or whatever.
Yeah, and, if they're not already top of their game, they're, pretty mid. Yeah. But they're getting the schedule that they want. Why?
Why would you
aspire for anything better? So I know that they're trying to move away from that idea that we had for a really long time, and more of like people that are on the top of their game and who we can trust, and things like that. We're gonna keep them kind of, because even today, like, I was supposed to be a first cut, and at one point the fabulous manager came up to me and was like, "So I'm gonna have you take this big party at 8, and I'm like, first of all, you're gonna have to break me if that's because I was supposed to be first cut, and no, I kind of had the inclination in my head coming in that I was gonna be first cut. So
there are definitely those days where I'm not closing, and I'd like to not be closing, because I'm not closing.
So and then he mentioned later, he was like, I was just thinking about keeping all of my lead servers, my my stronger servers on, just in case we do end up getting like a random pop. I wanted the people that could take, the tables and handle it. And I was like, look, I totally get it. And I appreciate being one of those servers that you look to say that I'm, one of your stronger, as a lead server I should be, but you know what I mean? It's very much like, thank you, but also, no, I wanted to be cut. Like, let me go home.
Let me leave.
Don't hold me hostage here,
I have
dog.
things to do.
What else has happened over the break? Oh, the twins.
Oh my God.
The twins.
It's such a wild, this has been such a wild ride. And they're still, so as of yesterday, they had come in Thursday. Mm-hmm. So today's Saturday. For anybody that's listening, we record on Saturday. And so as of Friday, we had last seen the twins Thursday morning. But only one of them came.
Yeah, that happens rarely, but it does happen. I have seen it happen. My first interaction with them, apparently they've been coming for years.
I don't know if it's for years.
They've been coming for a hot minute.
They've been coming for a while.
But
definitely a while.
But they always came with other people. It wasn't just the girls.
Oh,
it was
interesting.
Yeah, so they've been coming for a long time. When I say years, I mean years. Like, they've been coming for a long time, but they would always have, like, their friends with them.
I didn't know this.
And everything was always fine. Like, it was never an issue. My first interaction with them, one comes in. I'm at the host stand. I think the hostess was like grabbing something from the attic or whatever. So I'm watching over the host stand for her. And one comes in and says, I want to sit on the patio. And I say, great, party of one. And she goes, yes. Fantastic. I grab one menu. I'm walking her to the patio. As I'm walking her to the patio, a second one that looks exactly like her,
another woman,
walks up and starts like grabbing at her and is like, we'll just sit together. We'll sit together. And the first one's like, I don't want to sit with you.
Oh my God.
And she was like, oh my God, stop it. We'll just sit together. And then they start walking themselves towards a table. like arguing and bickering, and I'm
And
just
you're
like,
just like, what the fuck?
yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And so I'm just following them. They sit down. I hand them one menu. I say, I'll be right back with another one. I bring them another menu. And then I'm like, your server will be right with you.
I had not interacted with them at all. I had just heard a story
Yes.
from this server.
So apparently at some point, the girls it's too much. They're bickering and arguing. One of them gets up and sits at another table. But then the server that was taking care of them, new dad, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Love him. He took the order for one, went over to the other table, and it was like the exact same order. And he was like, okay.
All
and
right.
Then, yeah, and then he goes to get desserts, and she's like, I want the strawberry shortcake. He goes, great. He goes to the other one. The other one's, I want the strawberry shortcake. And he's like, okay.
Wild.
And then
because they're sitting at opposite ends of the patio at this point. This is the story that I heard.
Yes.
So hold on, real quick. Let's just recap this just so that everybody who's listening understands. There are two women that come in. They are identical twins.
Yes.
They are absolutely identical twins. Sometimes they wear the same clothes.
Yes.
Like, this needs to be known to everybody.
And
sometimes they arrive in the same shades of colors with the same, like, cardigans on.
And more often than not, they arrive with cuts and bruises on their faces and arms.
Cuts and bruises,
Both
bandages across their faces and arms. And yeah, and seemingly almost every time that they dine with us, it's always in the afternoon, like in the before the night crew ever arrives, they come in and they usually separate at some point. So this has been an ongoing thing for a while. But so then he takes he gets the order and he's like, didn't one of them ask for extra whipped cream?
Yeah, so he drops the desserts. One of them's like, I want extra whipped cream, so he brings it out. And the other one's like, I want extra whipped cream, so he brings it out.
I heard that the second one said, did she get extra whipped cream? Because I want extra whipped cream. So it's like, now they're on
competition.
They're on opposite sides of the patio. They started together. Now they're on opposite sides of the patio, and they're like aggressively ordering the same food. And like, did she get more? Well, then I want more. And it's like, we're not your mom, and we're not handing out who gets the bigger piece of the fucking candy bar. Like, what are you? What is going on right now?
He thought he was being pranked. Like, he legitimately.
For sure, I would be looking for Ashton Kutcher and the cameras. I would be like, this has to be a joke. Because
what YouTuber is fucking setting this shit up?
Who's like,
we do get Brent Rivera in quite a bit.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
he thought he was being punked. Yeah, for sure.
He absolutely was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And so that day they leave. Right?
Yes.
No issues other than just them separating, and then him being confused on like, where do I drop the bill?
Yeah, because he was like, it started as one, now is it two?
And I was like, you drop it to the initial table. Like, whoever's still sitting where they were seated, that's who gets
and they can
check.
figure it the fuck out.
Or like maybe split it. I don't know what I would do in that situation. And
I think I would hand one check to the original table and then see what she said.
Right. So that was my first. I came in and that server was still on, to which he tells me about what happened during his day. And I'm like, this is insane. And he's like, yeah, they come in a lot. And I was like, okay, fantastic. So then you had interactions with them.
I've taken care of them like once or twice. They come in like every day now.
Yeah,
and
like almost every day.
It got like progressively worse. So they would come in and they would start at the same table and then they would eventually separate. But then they started screaming at each other from across the patio.
Yeah, just yelling obscenities and things at each other.
I had a table at one point that was on the patio. They had young kids and they looked at me and they were like, are they like regulars here or something? And in my head, all I can think of is, if I say that they are regulars, does that mean you're never going to come back because you think that we put up with this? And if I say that they're not regulars, are you going to think like, well, then why aren't you taking care of this? You know what I mean?
What do you
like,
want me to do though? Like, what am I supposed to do when two guests
get
into a
screaming at each other?
Like me personally,
No.
If I've had tables that have gotten into fights before and one of them storms off, even fights that have interacted with other guests, where other guests are now like, whoa, what the fuck's going on?
Do you remember that fight where a little lady grabbed her shoe and tried like beating at the bar? It was wild.
Do I remember it? I was a part of that. I got in there and I was trying to protect our little tiny manager that we had.
Yeah, she was like 4'10".
Yeah, and she put herself in the middle of it, and I was like, no, you get out of here. I got this. Like, fucking crazy.
So sweet.
So they progressively have gotten worse, and now they're yelling at each other, and they're screaming, and then I come in one day, and they are both seated at separate tables. One of them's like out in the, the little two tops that sit in the sun. Mm-hmm. So they always sit on the patio.
Yes.
As far as I know.
Always.
And so one of them's out there and the other one's at like 209. So they're a little far away, but they're not the entire patio, like across away. And they
They're
are
like 2 table widths, I would say, 2 or 3 table widths away from each
right.
other.
Well, and then one of our managers who went to a different location was helping us out. Right. So she was there for the day. So we all know her, but she wasn't. And so when I arrived, she's like, yeah, I don't know what to do. Like they've been yelling at each other for like a little bit, but then they calm down and then they eat a little bit more food and then one of them gets up and starts yelling at the other one. And I was
Yeah,
like,
sometimes they'll get up from their chair to go to the table to like scream
Yeah.
over their sister. It's
so
wild.
yeah, it's crazy. And so I was like, oh, that's the twins. Like I see you've met the twins. Like welcome back to this location. She was just helping us out for the day.
Yeah.
But I was like, welcome back. Here's what's new in this part of town. And so I'm watching this play out. And so then they pay. One of them pays anyways, and they get up to leave. To which one of them had taken a water to go. Right? So she wanted a water to
They
go.
always get either a cup of ice or a water to go
Right.
every time.
So one of them had her water to go and they are outside. And then we get a phone call inside from a server who had just left. And so she was leaving from the morning, right? She calls the restaurant to say, you guys need to call security or something because those women, the twins, are physically fighting outside.
Literally fist. And I need to preface this by saying we never mentioned how old they are.
Oh, I'm so sorry. They're 75. At best.
At best.
At best, they are 75-year-old women. Not in the best of health.
No.
And they don't move quickly, you know? And yeah, so they are outside in our parking lot.
Fist fighting each other.
Fist fighting each other, to which I hear this news over, like, I didn't take this phone call, but I heard what was happening because I was standing close enough, and I go outside. I'm like, absolutely, I need to see what's happening. I go through the back because I don't want to be out where the guests all are and be, like, gawking. So I go out the back, and I peek out, and I see them arguing, to which I catch one of them take the lid off of her to-go cup and throw it in her sister's face. So there is ice and water all over this one woman. And then the woman who threw the water comes inside and asks the host for more water. And so now I'm back inside because now I need to see what's happening. So now I'm back inside. So twin who got splashed on, starts walking towards the car. And then the other woman asks for a cup of water. And to the host, she's like, can I have more water? Here. And he goes, no, you keep that. I'll just go get you another cup of water.
Right.
So he does. And then as soon as she walks out the door, I go, she threw the other one on her sister. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, she's probably going to go throw that one on her too. And he's like, well, I wouldn't have given it to her then. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter now. And we have a party that's sitting on the patio that's starting to get concerned because these women have been like grabbing at each other.
Very old, like elderly women.
Yeah, and they're like a party of 6 that had requested the patio right at this time. So and you can hear them screaming at each other. So then they're fighting. They're like, I'm watching them physically fist fight next to the car.
What?
And then one of them opens up the driver's side door and gets in. And the other one, I'm thinking it's the woman who threw the water because I can't tell. They're wearing almost identical clothing. Walks around and gets in the car. And then they fucking leave.
Together.
And all I could think is, what is that car ride? Just like, like just fucking like wild. And then it made perfect sense to me that they're all fucking scratched up and shit. Like they physically fight. And it's like, do you guys live together? You shouldn't. You shouldn't even eat together. What are you doing? Like, I don't know why, but it's like, were you guys at one point conjoined twins and now you're not and you don't know how to deal with that? Like, I don't understand the connection.
Yeah.
Like, I understand having like this is the last family you have left, let's say, right? But if you guys are physically fighting on the daily, like, fucking move out. If you have enough money to eat at our restaurant every afternoon,
Yeah, no shit.
you have enough money.
With dessert, too. It's not even like they come in and skimp out.
Full meals.
Full meals.
Almost every single day of the week.
2 to 3 courses sometimes.
Yeah, you have enough money to get the fuck away from your very, very, very toxic relationship with your sister. Like, what?
Yeah, so apparently at one point, the general manager had to go out and tell them, like, ladies, if you can't keep your shit together, we're going to have to tell you you can't come back.
And rightfully so.
And we absolutely should have. And ever since then, I haven't heard anything as wild as them fist fighting in the parking lot.
No, that was insane. I'm so happy that I was there that day. Like, I watched.
Devastated that I wasn't.
Oh, I called you immediately.
I know.
That's what everybody needs to know this. Like, once they were in the car and drove off, I didn't have any tables. So I went immediately back outside and I called Kat to be like, you're never going to believe what just happened.
Yeah, for sure.
The twins were fighting. And then, the next time that they were seen was with more bandages.
Yeah.
So it's like, did they just go home and fight? Like, are they like, like the cartoon Cats and Dogs when they fight and it just makes
It's
like a
the
cloud of dust? Is that them?
Well,
Like,
for sure.
And also, like, I just can't imagine sharing a car. And then, like, sometimes they don't drive together because one of them will be like,
No.
oh, I have to go pick her up, but or you can Uber. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's one car or something.
That's why I think they live together. I think they have one car. I think they live together because one time one came in and she was sitting down for a bit and then she was very like, oh, do you have a charger I can use? My phone's about to die. Can I use your charger or your phone? Can I use your guys' phone? Like, does it call out? Da da da. And
Right.
we're like, yeah, I guess you can. And then she called her sister and was like, yeah, my sister wants to get an Uber, but I'm just going to go pick her up or blah, 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 whatever. And then she, ate her meal, paid out, and left. And the sister came back a little while later because she was wearing a different jacket, unless she went home and put on a different jacket. But I'm pretty sure the sister
We
came
have
back.
seen them together, so it's in fact not just one person that's entirely crazy. I have seen them both together.
But she came back and she was driving the same car.
Okay.
Like she had the same car keys and
Right.
she was driving the same car. So I do think that they share a car. I think that they live together. I
They
think
shouldn't.
that, they are just super toxic for each other and to each other. And then they come in and make that our problem.
Yeah.
But honestly, my last name is not written on the building. So it's not my problem. This is my entertainment.
Yes.
I love
It's
when they're
fantastic.
here. They are my favorite regulars. And when I tell people that, they're like, oh my God, why? And I'm like, are you joking?
Are you joking? I saw that fist fight happen, and it's most likely gonna happen again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the $6 I paid in Netflix to watch trash TV isn't anywhere near as worthy.
Yeah.
Or like, I would rather, I'll pay you money. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you a tip out at the end of the night to keep having these women come in and just fist fight each other in the parking lot. That's fucking hilarious to me.
It's so crazy. And so, like I said, so as of Thursday this week, one of the twins had come in.
Yeah, they come in like literally 4 or 5 times a day during the week. It's
week.
wild.
Not a day. They don't come in 4 or 5 times a day.
4 or 5 times a week. Yeah.
A week.
Sorry.
If it was a day, we would have gotten rid of them by now.
Could you
But-
imagine if they came back, breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and fought like that? Get out. Even that's too much.
Are you like, is there nowhere else you guys want to eat? Like, our menu is extensive, but like, you've got to get sick of it at some point.
They
I don't
order
know.
kind of the same thing every time.
Every
It's
time.
not even like
Yeah.
they get something new every time.
No, it's so crazy. Yeah. So it's been, we've had some fun with the time off.
Yeah, I had a lot of shit going on. Kat still, doing her thing, kids doing his thing, and then just it was a lot of, it was too stressful to try and figure out everything that I had going on at home, as well as the schedule change on
Sure.
top of it to try and figure out like what's a good day for us to set aside for this.
Well, and also what I don't think anybody understands is that we work together. We are incredibly close friends, and we hang out together, and we were like having to save stories in order to talk about them because I wanted that reaction from you and you wanted that reaction from me.
Yeah.
And as fun as that can be, it was also starting to get a little daunting of like, I just want to be able to pull my friend aside and tell you some fucking shit that went down today.
Yes.
Like, I want to have that shit talk in the moment, not always,
3 hours later,
or
3
even 3 days later. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, like, well, I've got this story. Like, sometimes though, writing a little thing in my notes app and being like, oh, can't wait for Kat to hear this shit.
App girls.
There's a new song out, by the way. Have you heard it?
Oh, I can't wait.
It just came out.
I'm
I
so
think this morning
excited. I don't
just heard
think
it.
you understand how excited that you just gave me that
There's
news.
a new song out.
Fuck yeah. Girly Girl Productions?
yeah.
Oh, shout out.
Yeah, followed on TikTok. What are you talking about? Of course.
Fucking obsessed with that stupid shit. I love it so much.
If you're good with it, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, you trying to check out?
Yeah, let's check out. I got shit to do. I have a big day tomorrow. You have to be at work in the morning.
How dare you? Why would you remind me of these things?
I'm just trying to help. And guys, once again, welcome back. Thank you for sticking it out with us. And we look
Yeah.
forward to yet another
Full
shit
season.
talking season of Rolling Silverware.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rolling Silverware podcast. If you are enjoying the post-shift shit talk, please feel free to rate it. Tune back in next week for our shift shenanigans.